Okay, so mixed fractions. We got to work with these. Now, we know that we can take our mixed fractions and turn them into improper fractions. We already talked about that. So one way to add these up is to say, well, 3 times 1 plus my 2. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus a 2, that's 5. So that's going to give me a 5/3. And then I've got a 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1. Here's a 7/2. And I'm going to erase this 7 and make it a little stronger than 7. All right, now at this point, I need a common denominator. Well, what's my common denominator going to be? Well, I know this is a 3, this is a 2, so we're going to go with 6. So I'm going to take my 5/3, and I'm going to multiply this by 2/2 plus 7/2 times 3/3. Remember, I'm taking my denominator, I've got the 3, I'm missing the 2, so I want a 3, 2. What I do to the bottom, got to do to the top. Remember, we're multiplying by 1, we're not changing the value of my fraction, we're just changing the way it looks. I got my 7/2, so I need a 3 down here, so I multiply it by 3, what I do to the bottom, got to do to the top. So when I have that, that becomes 5 times 2 is 10 over 6 plus 21 over 6. So from here, I get 10 plus 21, 31 over 6. So we break that down to 31 divided by 6, throw in the 5, there's the 30, subtract, got the 1. So this is going to be 5 and 1/6, okay? So that's one way to do that. Now, with that in mind, this is how I like you guys to do. This is what I'm going to teach you. It's nice. These numbers are really cool, but if I've got 437 with, I don't know, 2 7s plus 15 19/21s, this is going to be a little more complicated working out than what that's going to be. Just because, do I really want to multiply 7 times 437? No. And not because I'm lazy, but because there's a more efficient way to do it. All right, so I want you to understand, this 1 2/3, as we talked about last time, is really 1 plus 2/3, right? Well, this is 3 1/2, which is 3 and 1/2. Remember, and is like plus, right? All right, so at this point, I'm going to rearrange. This is 1 plus 3 plus 2/3 plus 1/2. Well, at this point, this is 1 and 3. At this point, I've got a 2/3 and a 1/2. So I'm just going to go ahead and add these just because. So I've got my 4 plus, here's my 2/3 plus my 1/2. And I'm going to do the same thing with my denominators. So here's a 2/2. Here's a 3/3. So when I work this out, 4 plus 2 times 2 is going to give me my 4 over 6. 3 times 1 gives me a 3 over 6. So this becomes 4 plus 7 over 6. Well, we know 7 over 6, if I break this down, this becomes 4 plus 1 and 1/6. Well, 4 plus 1 and 1/6 is 5 and 1/6, and it's beautiful. So when we're working this out, you can use your capability of turning these mixed fractions into improper fractions. But if we really understand what a fraction is doing, we can go ahead and we can break this up. And as we break it up, now we just add our whole numbers together. We find a common denominator with a much easier, much lower numbered fraction to work with here. And we get the same answer. And in our case, it came out to be on the exact same spot, which is, you know, really nice. Yay! See, the reason why that this 3 times 1 times 2 really works is because 1 and 2/3 is really like saying 1 over 1 plus 2/3, right? Anything over itself is 1. Well, what do I need here? I need a common denominator in order to add these up. So I multiply by 3 over 3. So when I do that, I get 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3, which is equal to 3 plus 2 over 3, which is my 5/3. That is why 3 times 1 plus 2. Well, because what we're doing is we're multiplying by our denominator here in order to get a number for the common denominator, get a number up top to add it with the 2. Here's the 3 plus the 2. And we're keeping our same denominator. So that's why this works. It's not magic, you know. 3 times 1 times plus the 2. 3 times 1 plus the 2 over the denominator. Okay? So feel free to go ahead, break these up. Let's try another one. Okay, so we're looking at this. We got a bunch of minuses, we got some pluses, and do I really want to go 15 times 4, 32 plus 3? No. So I say 4, 32 plus 3 over 15 minus 102 plus 5 over 25, right? Okay, so here's my 432, here's my 3 over 15, but this negative's got to distribute out, right? So we're going to multiply this here and here to distribute. So this becomes 432 plus 3 over 15 minus 102 minus 5 over 25. Okay, now I'm looking at this 3 over 15, I'm looking at this 5 over 25, and I'm thinking to myself, well, where do they meet? You know, we can work our way up, and, you know, we can go to 75, yay, but we don't really always want to go up. If I pay attention to this, I can reduce both of these. So here's 432 plus 1 over 5 minus 102 1 over 5, right? So this becomes 432 minus 102 plus 1 over 5 minus 1 over 5. Well, we work this, and 432 minus 102 is going to give me my 330, and 1/5 minus 1/5 is going to cancel out, so I'm left with my 330. This is a lot more simple of a method for you to do than going ahead and working our ability to go ahead and determine improper fractions. So whichever one you like, go ahead and roll with that, but this is the way I like. And it works with multiplication as well. So this is 3 times 3 1/4. Well, we know that I could say, well, here's 3 times, 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1. There's my 13 over 4. I know I can do that. And now I could say, well, this is 3 over 1 times 13 over 4, right? 3 over 1 is 3. 3 times 13 we know is 39. And as I'm looking at this, I'm checking, can I reduce here? No. Can I reduce this way? No. So I know I've got 39 over 4. So I take my 39 over 4, this becomes 39 divided by 4, so 4 doesn't go into this, but 4 goes into that, whatchamacallit, let's say, man, my multiplication's off all of a sudden. Okay, so if we go with 8, that's going to be 32, if we go to 9, that's going to be 36. Subtract that out, I get a 3. So I know that this is going to be 9 3/4. Right? Okay. That's one way to do it. Now we're going to go ahead and do it the way I like. Well, if we think about my fractions for just a second, I know that this is 3 3 plus 1/4, right? 3 1/4 is 3 plus 1/4. Now I'm looking at this. I'm going to go ahead and use the multiplication, I'm going to distribute using the multiplication for distribution. So here we go. 3 times 3, 9. 3 times this, 3/4. Guess what? 9 3/4. Real simple, right? So not a lot of work. This is a great way to go ahead and do our multiplication. It looks like it might be time for me to go ahead and end this one. So don't want to go over my time limit. Anyway, you guys have fun. Go Navy. And on your test, if you're in my class this week, the code word is applesauce. If you write applesauce on your test, there's 5 points I'm giving out. I'm going to divide them up on your test. So if there's 5 of you that write applesauce on your test, everybody's getting 1 point. So don't go around telling everybody, go ahead and make sure that you're doing the videos to hook them up. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. You know, if they ain't doing the work, they shouldn't be getting the credit for it, all right? So with that said, applesauce.